Alright, so we're almost ready to start talking about tools, but we have a couple more things to go over first. Quick rundown on my bathroom kit. This, toiletries and stuff, it's pretty straightforward. Cam soap works for me for washing my hair if necessary, assuming you're in a place where you can do that conveniently. Deodorant, I'm not a savage. Wash rag. I bring a wash rag and I put it in a Ziploc. Again, keep wet things isolated from non-wet things. Very important. I do bring one of these emergency space blankets. It does help as an emergency if you're very cold and you need to add a layer. It does keep moisture in, but it could matter. Not really that critical as long as you have the other appropriate layers with you. I keep this with my bathroom supplies, and I don't even know why, but I do. It's a roll of duct tape. I took a toothpick, started a roll, just re-rolled it on there, which makes a nice, dense, decent amount of duct tape for repairing just about everything. Sunblock, I only bring it when I feel that it's necessary. Hot, sunny weather, that kind of stuff. Generally speaking, I'm completely covered skin-wise, other than my face, so at worst I gotta put it there. Mini toothbrush, mini toothpaste, fingernail toenail clippers, also handy for some other utility use when working on the bike. A little bit of bug goop. My first ride each year tends to be in June. As far as long adventure ride type things are, bugs are terrible in June in my area, so I do bring some pretty heavy duty DEET. Showed that earlier for wrapping any particular situation, ankles, wrists, whatever. I bring an electric razor because I can't stand facial hair. This is a portable battery powered one. Throw in a couple AA's. I can shave with it for a week or two. That's just a comfort thing. This is more of a safety item. I have one here in my toiletries, and then I stash one with my tools. Shelter includes staying warm. It's your number one thing in a survival scenario. If for some reason you're injured in a way, the bike's broke, you're stuck in position, you can't walk, and the bike is jacked, you can set up your tent and possibly survive for a bit. If it's a catastrophic scenario where stuff's all wet too, you're going to need a fire to survive. Having a couple of these little bad boys could save your life. I'm not a smoker, so I don't need it for that. I'm pretty sure this spoon's only here because I also use this for backpacking and kayaking when I am cooking on the trail. Probably not necessary. So that's all the toiletries and fun stuff. Let's talk about tools. First, separate from the tools on the bike in a separate bag somewhere, I keep a Leatherman. The only reason is, if by some horrible situation I lose my tool bag because it falls off my bike or something, I still have an emergency tool that might save my butt. Maybe. It's doubtful. But it also has my only knife, blade, and stuff that I bring with me, so it's valuable. It also has a set of pliers on it. Might be useful. Just keep that as for an extra level of tools. So I don't have my tool kit for my bike out here. That's actually on the bike right now in its special little hiding place. Little tip on how to set up your tool bag and know what else you have to add to it. When winter starts, pull your tool roll off your bike, bring it in the house and set it down. And for all the maintenance you do in the winter, if you're like me, I maintenance the heck out of my bike in the winter. I add any add-ons I want, any farkles or whatever I'm doing. Any maintenance I do on that bike, I use my main tools for that. But I first look in my tool bag to make sure that I have the tools to use to do the same task. Make sure the sizes, I don't actually use it because those tool kits that come with bikes tend to have very weak tools in them just for emergency purposes. But check to make sure you can do it. As long as you know you can, then you know you have it. But if it doesn't have a particular size or not enough reach on one of the tools or whatever, you need to add a little something. Add it, make a note, something so that you know that when you go on an adventure ride, you have to add those tools to your kit, or add them in a bag somewhere else on the bike. So that's how I build up my tool selection. Now it's important to note that if you're doing a, let's say you're re-shimming the valves, well, if you don't have shims with you, there's no point in bringing any extra tools that require you to get that far into the bike. You know, if you're replacing a timing chain, if you're not carrying a timing chain or idlers with you, you can't do that work anyway, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about everything else. Worry about the things you can fix on the trail and add tools as you go for that. So let's start with the simple stuff. Flat tires, how do we deal with that? Assuming you're running tubes, that's what I'm going to cover now. For tubeless, mooses, all that other stuff, use different tools. You probably already know how to deal with that by now. First thing is a patch kit. Self-adhesive patches work about as good as the glue. Whatever, bring your preferred patch method. Make sure you have the little scuffing tool. That's important to make sure you get a good seal. That comes with me no matter what. Now, spare tubes of both sizes. If I'm solo on a multi-day, I do bring these. Mostly because I find it much easier when solo, risk-wise, to just take the old tube out, make sure I find where the puncture's coming from and fix that, make sure the thorn or the nail's not still sticking through the tire, solve that problem, and just put the good tube in, get the bike back rolling, and when I get to camp, patch the tube I pulled out, where I can take my time, not being eaten alive by mosquitoes, not baking in the sun, not getting rained on. If there's more people, I might just bring the larger tube because that can be used in a pinch on the rear as well. Might not bring any tubes if other people have tubes and we've talked about it and we're only bringing one spare set. You know, there's other solutions there. I tend to run a higher pressure when running tubes so I don't get pinch flats anyway because I don't like dealing with them and I'll just deal with a little less traction. That's generally how I think about it. But no matter what, the tube patch kit comes with me. Typically I bring 2 tube patch kits in separate locations because I'm a little crazy about that to make sure I have that covered. Worst thing that can happen is you get a flat tire and that ruins your trip. You know, but if you get a flat tire and you have the necessary stuff to fix it, no big deal. You just change it, fix it, and move on.